So last time, Sigurd had finally killed Fafnir. And after he killed Fafnir, he went into the lake and swam to the bottom and came up and he found this huge hoard of treasure. And he'd never seen so much gold in his entire life. And he took a coin with him. And he swam back outside and came out of the lake and he saw Rain standing there. But Rain was acting kind of weird. And Rain said that they needed to cut out the dragon's heart and eat it to ensure that the dragon wouldn't come back to life. And so that's what they were doing. They were sitting there cooking the heart over the fire. And while they were cooking the heart, they started to hear a lot of feather like flapping noises. And so Sigurd looked up and there were thousands of crows just in the trees. And all of them are all of them were cawing. It was really loud. It was kind of creepy. And they kept flying and like going past Sigurd, bumping on the top of his head with their talons, just flapping near him. And he's trying to get him away. And Rain was looking at him and he was just trying to ignore him. But these birds would not leave him alone. Sigurd was just so confused on what was going on. And then finally, Rain looked at the heart and he said, I think it's done. You can eat it now. And so Sigurd went to grab the heart out of the fire and it burned his thumb. And the thing about dragons, after they die, there's magic on them. And when he touched that heart, it gave him the ability to understand birds. He could talk and listen to birds. And instead of hearing the cawing everywhere, he could understand what they were saying. And all of them were saying, "Look out! Rain is going to kill you." And he looked up and Rain was just about to pull his sword out to kill him. But Sigurd was a better warrior and he was younger. And so he grabbed his sword and killed Rain in that very moment. After that, Sigurd took all of the treasure and he was able to buy and hire lots of soldiers and armies. And he was conquering tons of kingdoms until he finally had a castle of his own. And he ended up becoming an evil man because he too was cursed by the treasure. Now, when I looked at all the different versions of this myth, like the Swedish version and the German version, none of them were very explicit about whether or not Sigurd was cursed by the gold. But if you learn about all the other stories about Sigurd, he does a lot of really dark, evil things. And so I personally believe that he was cursed by this gold, and that's what made him such an evil king later. But regardless, it's interesting. Another thing that I find very fascinating about this is the fact that this story comes from the Norse or the Vikings. The Vikings were very violent people. They would go and plunder and burn down villages and take over. They took over all of Northern Europe, and they were a warrior people, just like Sigurd. But what's interesting is even though they were, this story came from them. It's almost as if they had experiences where they were so obsessed with gold or taking places over that brother turned against brother or friend turned against friend. And it was almost like a cautionary tale to their children that, greed can destroy you. You got to be careful with that. Regardless, I love this myth, and it's a shame because not that many people know about it. And if you have any other stories or myths that you would like me to talk about, or if you have any questions about this myth, just send me an email and we'll talk about it.
上一次我们讲到 Sigurd 终于把 Fafnir 杀掉了。他杀掉 Fafnir 以后，他到湖里游到下面，发现有个通道，再上来发现有超多的财宝，他从来没看过这么多金银财宝，所以他拿了一个金币游回去湖那边。他看到人也来了，但是人看起来怪怪的，而且还说要把龙的心脏挖出来吃掉，才能保证龙不会复活。所以他们现在正在用火烤龙的心脏。突然他们听到很多挥动翅膀的声音， Sigurd 往上一看，看到很多的乌鸦在树里面，他们一直叫一直叫，很大声，听起来有点恐怖，而且他们飞来飞去，还飞到 Sigurd 的身边，撞到他的头。 Sigurd 试着把他们赶走， Rain 看着他们，试着不去理那些乌鸦，但是这些鸟就是不走。 Sigurd 觉得很困惑，不知道是发生什么事。这时候 Rain 看着心脏，然后说，哦，好像好了，你可以吃了。所以 Sigurd 把心脏从火里拿出来。拿出来的时候，那个心脏烫伤了他的大拇指。有一件有关龙的事情你要知道，就是就算他们死了， 魔法还是在他们的身体里。所以当 Sigurd 碰到那颗心脏的时候，只给他一个可以跟鸟沟通的能力，他可以跟鸟说话，也可以听懂鸟在说什么。所以他现在不是听到乌鸦啊啊的叫，而是听懂他们在说什么。他们在说小心小心，人要杀你。他一往上看，他就看到人准备拔剑杀他，但是这个是一个战士，而且他又比较年轻，所以他马上把剑拿起来杀掉 Rain。 在那之后 Sigurd 把所有的财宝都拿走，他用那些财宝买了很多的士兵还有军队，他征服了很多个国家，一直到他有自己的城堡。他最后变得很邪恶，因为他也是被那些财宝诅咒了。我在看这个神话其他不同版本的时候，像是瑞典的版本还有德国的版本，里面都没有一个讲到 Sigurd 是不是有被财宝诅咒。但是你看越多其他有关 Sigurd 的故事，你就会发现他后来做了很多很黑暗很邪恶的事情。所以我个人觉得他是有被财宝诅咒的，那也是为什么他之后变成一个邪恶的国王。另一个我发现很有趣的事情是，这个故事是从北边或是从维京人来的。维京人是很残暴的人，他们会掠夺还有烧掉别人的村庄，他们占领整个北欧那边，而且每个维京人都是战士，就跟 Sigurd 一样。有趣的是，就算他们是那样的人，但是这个故事是从他们那里流传出来的，就很像在说他们很有经验，直到说当你太喜欢财宝跟掠夺土地的时候，就会让你跟你的兄弟或是朋友变成敌人。有点像用来警告小孩的故事，要让你知道贪婪可以毁掉你，你一定要小心。总之我很喜欢这个神话，有点可惜没有很多人知道这个故事。如果你还有想要听我讲其他的神话或是故事，或是你对这个神话有问题，都可以写信给我哦。如果你喜欢这个影片，可以把你的 email 填到下面的这个连结，我会不定期寄发新的影片给你哦。